Okay, I thought I'd film this video because a lot of people have questions about the Behr DeckOver deck stain solution, and I had a lot of questions too. And it looks like if you look online, there's a lot of people who had problems. There's a lot of people who had success, I guess, or not as many. It doesn't seem like, but I always wondered if everybody followed all the instructions and what kind of deck they had going into the staining process. So here's what I've got going on. I'm going to do a before and after. Here's the before. So what I've done so far is I had this deck here that's actually got 4 different segments. It's got an old 20-year set of wood. I've got some replaced wood that I just put in this week. I've got cement here, which DeckOver is supposed to work on. And then I've got about a 7-month-old deck section here. So I'm going to put DeckOver, the same DeckOver, over each of these 4 different surfaces. So we should get a good idea of how it works on these different surfaces. So what I've done so far to this point is I had stain on this old deck, so I had to strip it. I used the stain remover, the Behr deck stain stripper. I had to actually apply it twice. I spent an entire weekend scrubbing this deck down to try to get as much of the stain off as possible. I then even wasn't satisfied, so I moved on to actually sanding by hand with a little mouse sander. So I actually got up quite a bit of the stain. You probably can't even make out any bits. It's really hard to see. You can kind of maybe see a little bit of, maybe a little stain like right there in the cracks. But I got most of it off. I then filled in some of the bigger divots, as the DeckOver instructions suggest, with wood putty. And you can kind of see my handiwork here. It's dried. I did this yesterday, so it's all dried up. Once I completed the deck stain application, I then moved on to the deck cleaner, as the instructions suggest, and I applied the deck cleaner to both this old portion of the deck and then also the new pieces of wood that I installed recently. Alright, so per the instructions, this new treated lumber has been washed with the cleaner, the Behr cleaner. Moving on to the cement, I filled in some cracks and just some minor imperfections with some basically cement patching. I also pressure wash it. And I should mention that my means of cleaning off the stripper and the deck cleaner was through a pressure washer, which I also used to try to help break off some of the other stain and just make sure that both the cement and all of the deck portions were clean. So moving on to this section of the deck. Again, this is about 7 months old. Again, I went over it with a power washer. So we've got 7-month-old treated lumber that's been, a little bit weathered. We've got cement that's been patched up, been cleaned. We've got new treated lumber that's had the cleaner applied to it. And then we've got old treated lumber that has been stripped and cleaned and sanded and everything I can do to prep it. So that's about it. I'm going to start rolling out the actual DeckOver first layer here. Oh, I should also mention the weather. So we've had it's basically been dry for 4 days in a row. It's going to be dry for another 3 or 4 days. It's June of 2017. So I guess I'll probably be recording another one of these showing the results if I start to see any wear, and I'll note the date at that point. All right, thanks.